to the next Hall of Fame members. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce, from across the street where the party is after this, right? From Hotel Congress, the creator of the HOCO Festival. It's Dave Slutes.
Hi, everybody. It's really actually a big pleasure to be able to introduce this year's Hall of Fame award winners. I've been following their career since day one. And this is sort of just one man's opinion of their career. But I don't know, many of you probably are familiar with this act, Calexico. But if you were around back in 1990, that's when they kind of first made their first appearance. And it was Joey Burns and John Convertino who had just joined Hal Gelb's Giant Sand at the time. And if you were around, that was such a terrific act. I don't remember, I mean, Giant Sand is still a marvelous act, and Hal Gelb's done many different things, but that unit was so good. And you think about how Calexico came to be, and you think about Giant Sand, and you think, wow, here's these guys sort of thrown into Hal Gelb's weird, insane, creative world of like militant anarchy. And you go, how can not these guys start to form a bond and learn how to use the improvisational skills they brought into the act and all the weirdness, and they had several years of sort of this training under Hal, and then go forward a couple of years to Friends of Dean Martinez. I don't know if you're familiar with those guys, but this was a really groovy act that came out about 1994. It's sort of an all-star act, and John and Joey are members of that too, and it incorporated all these lounge sounds and country sounds and this sort of cinematic, cool weirdness, and you start to see that these guys could foment sort of this idea that would sort of materialize later. And go forward about 2 more years, and they can correct me on any of this because this is just my memory going on, but they came off as sort of a side project, and they were playing little shows around town. And I remember a show they did at Congress, we had them, and it was Tasha Bundy playing drums, and Joey's playing guitar, and John's playing vibes, and there's something really cool about this, what they're trying to do, and you can see all this stuff started to come together a little bit. And there's hardly anyone at the show, and I was fortunate enough to record the show. I promised John and Joey that I never bootleg that show, but, you know, money talks, ladies and gentlemen. If you're saying so. Anyway, that next year they released Spoke, which was their first record. I don't know if you heard it, but boy, did a lot of heads turn when this thing was released. You realize this can be a side project no more. This band is truly on to something cool, looking at all these cool influences, doing all this great stuff. And by 1997, they released this album called The Black Light, which is, to me, the definitive. I mean, that set Calexico's sound. It was fantastic. They incorporated that lounge, that country, the local influences, Howard, maybe Al Perry, and you hear the jazz and the Latin, the Portuguese, all this great stuff. And of course, those mariachi horns, you know, oh my God, what a great sound they put together. And then the tuba player chimed in. Okay, that's cute. So here's these guys. They've taken the sound of all these disparate kinds of music, and if you try to put this lounge, it's very cinematic sound. The lounge, the retro, the jazz, the country, all this, the mariachi horns. If you put it in lesser hands, it could have been shticky and stupid. It really could have been not great. But these guys are so good at what they did, and were so competent and took it so seriously that it made such a beautiful and unique sound. And I'll tell you, it's something every critic has talked about. Said they've invented the sound, they've created the stuff, and yet something to us sounds really familiar. And you know what that is? You listen to Calexico, You hear that sound? It's the sound of Tucson. And they've taken that sound, and with this international band, and they've traveled the world, they've been the best representatives of this community musically around the globe. They're wonderful guys, playing this great music, making the world think of Tucson this way. This is how it says. Us in the music community are the better for it. It's a terrific sound, and we just admire everything they've done. They've played now Carnegie Hall. They've had their songs played to the astronauts in the space station. They've done so much great stuff, not only representing themselves, but representing our community. So it really is an honor tonight to present the 2009 Hall of Fame Award to John, Joey, Jacob, the rest of the crew, Calexico.